Hi, I'm Marci Degman, the aspiring gardener, and today we're going to make liquid hummingbird food. Now, here I've got a typical hummingbird feeder. This one doesn't hold a whole lot. I would suggest a larger one if you have a lot of hummingbirds, or if you have several feeders, that's fine. But one of the advantages of it being small is that the nectar won't get bad sitting in it. So what you have to first figure out is how much to make and how fast you're going to go through it. If you have a lot of hummingbirds, you might be filling it every day, but then when the flowers come out, sometimes it sits there and it turns funny smelling and it looks cloudy and you have to dump it out and start over. So what I usually do is make it in small amounts and replace it so it's fresh. What you want to do, regardless of whether you want to fill your feeder or you may want to fill a pitcher. A lot of people like to do a whole pitcher and put it in the fridge and then all they have to do is come out and pour it in. No matter whether you do a cup at a time or a quart or a gallon, always remember the formula is 4 parts water to 1 part sugar. So what I usually do is I use my measuring cup. I have 2 feeders and I like to fill them just a little bit this time of year because it's hot outside and it tends to go bad really quick. You'll know if your nectar is bad by smelling it. It'll smell like yeast. And you want to watch also for little black mold to grow inside your feeder, and then you might have to use a tiny bit of bleach, soak it over for quite a while till that comes off, maybe a couple of hours, clean it out, start over. So you really don't want it to get moldy or have yeasty sugar. So what I do is I usually start with a half a cup of sugar because I have a 2-cup measuring cup, and that way all I have to do is fill it up with the water. And you want to use boiling water because it needs to dissolve completely. And you just want to stir it till all the sugar dissolves. You can also put it in a microwave, heat the water that way. You can do it on a saucepan, whatever way works, but you just want to make sure that all the sugar dissolves and the liquid is clear. Now what you're going to want to do then is let it cool down. Sometimes I put a couple ice cubes in if they're waiting and they're hungry, and then I don't have to wait as long. So you don't want to put it in here generally when it's hot like this, but I'm going to go ahead today. And another reason I like to use a measuring cup is because usually there's not a very big way to pour it in. So this is really good. And since I have 2 smaller ones, what I do is I usually put half in one and half in the other. So regardless of what method works for you, just remember 4 parts water, 1 part sugar. Never use any dye because it's not good for the hummingbirds. The plastic that's on your feeder, the red, will attract them without putting dye into the nectar. If you don't have a red dish or a red top, you can tie something around it. You can plant it near a flowering bush with red flowers. Anything to kind of bring them in, but red is their favorite color, and that's why you usually see some part of your hummingbird feeder will be red.